Hey everyone, it's Chad, and in this video I'm covering my top 10 favorite ways to wear and use the North Merino Wool Handkerchief. Now, usually I am filming these videos deep in the beautiful woods of Pennsylvania, but ever since our little daughter was born a few months ago, and with the fact that both my wife and I work from home, I've had a little less time to get outside. But because it is warming up outside, it is perfect season for wearing and using handkerchiefs. So I want to make sure you got the information now instead of down the line where I could get a much more prettier, nicely edited video. So hopefully I can get this all done in one take. And yes, I will be using a cheat sheet in front of me, so I'll apologize ahead of time for looking away from the camera a few times as I try and keep my thoughts straight. So, talking about handkerchiefs. Handkerchiefs are different than kerchiefs. I really want to make this point clear because people tend to use the two words synonymously and they're not the same. So kerchiefs, like the ones we sell on our website, are much larger, usually square pieces of cloth worn as headwear. And the name kerchief literally just means head covering. So a handkerchief is a hand-sized kerchief or a hand-sized head covering. They tend to be much smaller than full-on kerchiefs and therefore have a little less versatility, but they're still super handy, and everybody should have one in their gear kit, regardless of the weather and conditions outside. So the most common form of handkerchiefs, I'm sure you all are extremely familiar with these, are bandanas. Now, bandanas get their name from the ancient Hindu word bandana, which basically means tie-dyed. So bandanas typically have some sort of like tie-dye pattern on them. This paisley print, I'm sure, is more of like an American thing, but bandanas around the world come in all different styles and designs. So the most common form is the bandana, but bandanas aren't as comfortable or as versatile as a merino wool handkerchief. They're usually made of a cheap cotton, and it's a woven material versus a knit material. So again, not as comfortable and not as versatile as our merino wool handkerchief. So a couple of the things about the merino wool handkerchiefs is they stretch, so they have stretch in both ways, one way a little bit more than the other. But that makes it more comfortable because it's going to be more comfortable to wear. It's going to move with you as you're moving about instead of kind of rubbing against you like a woven cotton bandana would do. And it's just going to fit and feel better on your head or around your neck or however you use it than a stiff bandana. So that more stretch equals just more comfort and just much easier to wear. It's also much softer. Most bandanas are made from just very cheap cotton. I think you can get a lot of bandanas for around $1, which probably reflects the quality of the material going into them. So again, not as soft. Some of the ones that I've seen in stores are actually really rough and they feel more like sandpaper than something you'd want to wear around your neck or on your head. Also, merino wool is actually more absorbent than cotton, but it stays dry to the touch, so it'll hold more sweat and moisture and hold that moisture away from your body, whereas a cotton bandana is going to hold that moisture right up against your skin, which could lead to chafing in warmer weather or onset of hypothermia in the colder temperatures. Also, merino wool is just overall more insulating, which means it's going to insulate you from hot weather, but also from cold weather. It's just a better insulating material than cotton, especially when it gets wet. Like I said before, once cotton gets wet, it basically loses all of its insulating abilities. Our handkerchiefs are also much bigger, so most bandanas are only about 20 by 20 inches, and our handkerchiefs are 25 by 25. And the main reason I did that is because a little larger size makes it a lot more versatile in wearing it. Also, I tend to have a bigger head than most people, and I have found over the years that these 20 by 20 cotton bandanas are uncomfortable to wear because they're so much smaller. And in fact, I can't always wear them the way I want to because they're just a little too small for me. So our handkerchiefs are much bigger than a typical cotton bandana. Also, they're just a nice plain design. I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the world, but I know here in America, especially in places like Los Angeles, wearing a bandana the wrong color could get you in a lot of trouble. They are used as kind of to show which kind of gang you're in down there. So our plain designs, besides protecting you from that sort of issue, also just make them a little more fashionable. They go with a lot more than just a paisley designed bandana. So nice plain design, won't stand out as much. Now a big thing is that cotton bandanas have a very low UPF factor. And UPF factor is basically just ultralight protection factor. So a lot of people use bandanas to keep the sun off, but they're actually terrible for doing that. We've had both bandanas and all of our products professionally tested for their UPF factor, and cotton bandanas have a UPF factor of around 13, which means that they're not very good at blocking sunlight. Whereas our products on the very low end have at least a 45, if not a 50 plus UPF factor. And that just means it's going to provide really good to excellent protection from the sun, which is better because it won't wear off like sunscreen, and it will just keep the sun off of you all day long as you're wearing it. Whereas eventually cotton bandana is going to let enough sunlight through that you're going to get sunburned and just really uncomfortable. And last but not least, our products are sewn in the USA. Most of these cotton bandanas, I know there are some that are made in the US, but this one here is made in China. So our products help support American manufacturing jobs, which is critically important, especially as more and more jobs are being outsourced to overseas. So the people who make these really care about producing good quality product, and we're really happy to support them in that effort. So overall, why would somebody choose a merino wool handkerchief over a cotton bandana? They're warmer, they're cooler, they're more absorbent, they're more comfortable, and they're overall just more versatile. So they really are just a better bandana, if you will, than a regular cotton bandana. So, all right, so now that I covered all that, let's jump into my top 10 favorite ways to wear and use the merino wool handkerchief. And the first way is as a neckerchief. So I'm throwing out another word for you. A neckerchief just basically means a kerchief worn around the neck. Just really that simple. It's a kerchief worn around the neck, and that's what a neckerchief is. So for this way, and basically all of them, our handkerchiefs are square. So for most of these ways to use, all you're going to be doing is first is folding it into a triangle. If I could get it. Just like that. So I guess learn to do that really well, because basically all the uses start from a triangle. So as a neckerchief, I wear it two ways, both front and back. If I wear it in the front, I'm going to make sure it's over my chin like that, and come around and tie it in the back. And by tying it over my chin like this, when I go to pull it down, it just creates a much better seal. And I'll wear it like this when I want to keep my neck warm, and also to slow the heat loss through the top of my shirt, coat, or jacket. So here's a good example. I'm wearing a Henley t-shirt. This handkerchief comes down and helps slow some of that heat loss through there. If I'm wearing a coat, it's going to help seal in the neck of the coat to, again, keep that heat inside. So if I want to stay warm, I'll wear it tight like this. Or if you want to look a little more fashionable, you can kind of wear it down a little bit more, kind of like that. Or if you're starting to warm up, you can wear it like this to help that heat to escape and for your body to breathe a little bit. So if I wear it in the back, I'm typically doing this for a couple reasons. One, to protect my neck from the sun. Again, that high UPF factor is going to basically block all of the UV rays from burning my skin back there. But also, when I'm hiking, I tend to sweat a lot from the back of my head. This just helps to mop up that sweat before it starts running down my back. And if I leave it open like this, I can use these ends to kind of mop up my sweat a little bit, like I'm doing right now. And you can either tie this in the front, just like this if you want to, with a knot, or what some people do that I've learned from our customers, and I don't know where it got off to. Ever since I started using these things, I lose them just like my wife does. You can use a hair tie. Wool's basically hair, so hair ties are really safe to use with our products, and you can kind of just do a very simple thing like this and create basically an adjustable slider for your handkerchief, and that just helps keep it from blowing away or whatever you need it to do. So this is wearing the handkerchief as a neckerchief, both front and back. That's my first favorite way to use it. My second is as a face mask. Now, I've been talking about using our products as face masks for years, way before the pandemic, because respiratory heat loss is one of the major ways that you lose your heat in the cold weather. And by wearing our products as a face mask, you're helping to reduce the amount of heat that you lose, and help you breathe in warmer air, which requires less energy, but is my favorite hack in the wintertime to stay warm. I could be wearing all the most comfortable clothes, but until I put something over my face, that's when I really feel like I'm truly warm in the cold weather. So as a face mask, there's basically three different things I use it for. One, for filtration, air filtration. If I'm doing projects around the house, like carpentry or things with a lot of dust, I'll wear it over my face for that. And because it's merino wool, it does breathe really well, so I can breathe through it for long periods of time without it causing any issues. The other thing you can use it for, of course, is for helping to reduce the spread of disease or infection. And the last one is, like I said, to prevent respiratory heat loss. So a couple different ways you can do this is, again, just fold it into a triangle, which provides 2 layers of protection, and then just tie it off here in the back. If you want a little bit more filtration effectiveness, you can take your triangle and then what you're going to do is fold it in the back, kind of like that. And that's going to provide 4 layers of protection over your face. But what makes this better than like a regular fabric face mask is you still get all this coverage right down here and on the side of your face. And like I said before, merino wool is breathable, so you can breathe through this for hours. And the moisture coming from your breath is going to get absorbed into the merino wool, into the core of the merino wool, so it basically stays dry against your face while you're wearing it for long periods of time. And of course, it still insulates then while it's wet. It's also easier to adjust than kind of regular fabric face masks. So, and if you wanted to, you could, like I showed you, fold it in half. If you wanted to, you could fold it in half again to get 6 layers of protection and then tie that over your face. So just really effective as a face mask, which is my second favorite way to wear the merino wool handkerchief. Now the third way is as an ear band or ear muffs. So again, starting from the triangle position, you're going to now fold the handkerchief again, basically all the way in half. So you want to kind of hide that point. So there's one fold. And then fold it again. Basically what you're creating is an extra wide band there. And just simply going to tie it around your head. And then when it's done, you're going to look just like Bret Michaels. But no, what this does is provides a lot of great insulation for your forehead and for your ears, but then allows the top of your head to breathe. So if you're out moving about in cold weather, your head, the heat can escape from your head while you still protect your ears and your forehead. It also, you can wear it under a hat and do basically the exact same thing while getting some additional sun protection from your hat. So that is the ear bands and ear muffs. So moving right into my favorite use number 4 is in that exact same position. These work great as an eye mask. So the only difference you're going to do is instead of tying a knot in the back, you're going to bring the ends around and tuck them deeply into the sides. And what it's going to do is it's going to eliminate a knot in the back, so when you're rolling around on your bed or in your airplane seat, you're not going to have that knot in the back of your head kind of sticking into your head. Now, what makes this better than regular eye masks is the merino wool breathes much better, and unlike kind of nylon or other synthetic eye masks, it's going to breathe so you're not going to feel like all hot and sweaty. But great thing to use while on the trail as well. Say you want to sleep in a little bit more, but you got bright sunlight coming in, or those nights where the moon's really bright, an eye mask is a kind of a great way to help you sleep a lot better. So that's use number 4 as an eye mask. Now number 5 is as a sweat band, and I use this anytime I need to mop up lots of sweat, say I'm outside doing yard work or I'm on a really strenuous hike. But you're basically going to do the same thing as you would for the ear band and for the eye mask, but now you're just going to fold it in half one more time, so you're getting a narrower strip of material, and then just tie that around your head just like a Ninja Turtle. And again, merino wool is much more absorbent than cotton, so it's going to hold more sweat than a regular cotton bandana would. It's also much more comfortable, and this is one of those times where the stretchiness, kind of elasticity of the merino wool just feels much better against my head than kind of the rougher, stiffer, non-stretchiness of a cotton bandana. So it's going to absorb much moisture, a lot of moisture, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable than a cotton bandana would as a sweatband. Speaking of sweat, use number 6 is as a sweat rag. Now this is more of a use than as a way to wear. So when you fold the handkerchief in half into a triangle, you're achieving kind of maximum length of the handkerchief. And what I'll do is I'll stick that in the kind of one of the loops on my backpack strap. And as I'm hiking, I can just very easily use it to either mop up my sweat, or I can pull it out completely and kind of wipe the sweat off of my brow. And by having it through the through my strap, it also helps it to dry a lot faster. The heat coming off my body, the heat from the sun is going to dry that much more quickly. So just really nice way to mop up sweat while I'm outside. Usually hiking and backpacking is the way I'll use that. All right, so for use number 7 is as a cooling towel. Now, so for most of these uses, you can use the handkerchief, you can dunk the handkerchief in water, and just to help increase the evaporative cooling effect for the different ways that you wear. I guess even as an eye mask, if you wanted to soak it in water, you could do that and take advantage of that evaporative cooling. But when you wear it this way, it targets the back of your neck where most of the sun is going to be hitting you. You've got 2 main arteries that run up to your brain, and you also, that's back where your thermostat is at the base of your brain. So just kind of a great way to help you stay cool when it's really hot outside. Now, because merino wool works well in both cold and warm temperatures, what am I saying here? Oh, I jumped ahead. So if you want to use a cooling towel, merino wool's outer scales are actually water resistant. It's its inner core that loves water and is hydrophilic, meaning it loves water. So if you were just dunk this into water and pull it out, it's not going to absorb much moisture the way a cotton bandana would. So when you go to use it this way, or in any of the ways to increase evaporative cooling, you want to make sure you soak it for at least 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe even a couple minutes. And that just allows the water to fully absorb into those fibers. And what's nice about that is it's going to hold more water, and therefore it's going to last much longer than a cotton bandana would, but also those cheap synthetic cooling towels you can find at pretty much any store now. It's going to hold more moisture, meaning it's going to keep you cooler longer than those things will. So once you've soaked it for a couple minutes, you want to pull it out and you want to squeeze the excess water out. You don't want to wring it. If you wring your merino wool, basically any merino wool, it will damage the fibers and you'll wind up damaging your product. So pull it out of the water and just squeeze out the excess water. And if you've done this right, you'll have a handkerchief that's full of nice, cool water, but it'll feel dry to the touch. It won't feel like you're slapping on a wet bath towel on your body. But it does provide a lot of good evaporative cooling. And I actually tested this a couple years ago and showed that in 90-degree weather, soaking a handkerchief in water, and I think I did around like a couple different water jugs, it provided up to like 10 degrees. It cooled the bottles of water about 10 degrees lower than what the outside temperature is. So it works very well, and I've had tons of customers tell me that by using the handkerchief or the kerchief or the hooded neck gaiter soaked in water has literally saved their lives in really hot weather. So don't ignore this very useful, very helpful tip for the merino wool handkerchief. Now, use number 8 is as a head wrap. Now, when I go outside, I don't bring a beanie anymore. The only headwear I'll actually bring is a ball cap, and basically a ball cap just like this, with nice breathable mesh in the back, and just really kind of thin material there in the front. So, because I don't carry a beanie anymore, I'm able to use my handkerchief, my kerchief, or whatever as a head wrap, which I think works a lot better. And because merino wool works both well in hot and cold weather, you can wear it like this to either soak up sweat and keep the sun off of you, or to insulate your head and keep it dry. So what you want to do for these head wraps is, again, fold it into a triangle and then throw it over your head. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with this way, but I'll show you two little tricks depending on if you want to stay warm or stay cool. So if you want to stay warm, you're just going to tie it in the back like this. But the big difference is you're going to leave the tail back here untucked. And what that's going to do is, as you're really hiking or moving along, it's going to basically create some ventilation back there. That's going to bounce around, move a little bit, allow that heat to escape while also soaking up any sort of moisture you have from sweating. And of course, then you can adjust this here if you want your ears to breathe a little bit more as well. Now, if you want to stay warm, you'll again tie it there in the back, but you'll take this tail, you'll tuck it in back like that, and then kind of these two holes back here, you're going to pinch those down and roll them in, and also kind of tuck those into the handkerchief just like that, and that provides a really nice kind of warm beanie. And what's nice too is you can pull the edges down, really get your ears protected, which I tend to have a problem with beanies. Beanies tend to roll up and expose my ears, and also still fits under a ball cap just like that. So great way to stay warm or stay cool. I'll probably wear my handkerchief like this when I do trail work up on the ridge lines here in a couple weekends. Now, use number 9 is probably my favorite way of using the handkerchief, and that's as a sun cape. Some people also call it kind of like a Sahara style cap as well. But basically, this is the one way where you're not going to fold the handkerchief into a triangle. You're going to unfurl it completely and then drape it over your head like so. And you're going to take these ends and just kind of make sure that they're even. You don't want it lopsided. You want it nice and even there. And what I like to do is make sure that it's covering at least to my eyebrows. And then I'm going to pull the material back, put my ball cap on, and voila, instant shade. So by wearing the handkerchief like this, I basically get full 360 sun protection for my neck, my head, and my face. But there's a couple other really key benefits that I found for this. So again, with these ball caps, I have the mesh in the back, and what I've learned as I've gotten older and I've started to lose hair back there is these hats provide no sun protection for that mesh area back there, and I burned my head a couple times. But by wearing the handkerchief like this, provides that excellent sun protection back there, which in turn really helps keep me a lot cooler when I'm outside in the hot sun. And what it also does is provides some excellent convective cooling. So as I'm moving around and hiking, these sides kind of flap like this, and they also help to trap the cool breeze kind of like a sail would, but it helps slow it down and keep that cooler breeze around me much longer. So it really does provide a lot of awesome cooling that way. Now these hats too don't have a lot of absorption, so once that small, really thin sweatband on the inside of these hats soaks up enough sweat, it starts running down my face. When I wear the handkerchief like this, prevents all that from happening. It gets soaked into the merino wool, and I don't have sweat running down the front of my face. But the last benefit that I found of this that was totally not expecting at all is that this is really great at keeping away the bugs. So when you're out hiking and moving around, you tend to have like mosquitoes and gnats kind of coming in at your ears. I can't even hear them with this over my ears. I'm moving along, I'm staying cool, the wind's coming there and flapping the sides, which act a lot like a horse's or cow's tail to kind of swat those flies away. Flies very rarely come in right at the front, so I just found this is just a nice way to keep the bugs off when they tend to bug you, which is right when it's the hottest and muggiest part of the day. So overall this provides really excellent sun protection, sweat kind of moisture management, and keeps the bugs at bay while keeping you really cool. So this is my favorite way to use a handkerchief as it's just one of my favorite ways to wear it. But then this moves into my favorite way, number 10. So say you don't have a hat, you can turn this into a do-rag. So just like have a handkerchief like this, and then take these ends and tie it back around behind your head. Like so. And what this provides is still gives you good sun protection for your head and your neck. You just get a little less for your face, but this is a great opportunity to soak the handkerchief in water and have a really nice kind of cooling do-rag, because as your body heats up, it's just going to pull the moisture in the handkerchief is just going to pull that heat right off your body, keeping you cool. So use number 10 is as a do-rag. All right, so those are my top 10 favorite ways of using and wearing the North by North Merino Wool Handkerchief. Be sure to go to our website under the how-to section on the website for more how-to videos just like this. But of course, if you have any questions anytime, please don't hesitate to reach out, whether you have questions about the product, how-tos, to how to dress appropriately for the weather conditions you're expecting your adventure to take you into. More than happy to answer all those for you. So thank you so much for your time and for your patience and for putting up with a little bit more of an amateurish video, but hope you found something useful in here. So until next time, thanks and take care.